They say the most dangerous traps are the ones disguised as love. And in 2022, a quiet woman in West Virginia learned that truth in the most devastating way. Because after months of tender messages, late-night confessions, and promises of a future together, she would wake up to realize the man she trusted had taken nearly $96,000 from her. But what she didn't know, what nobody knew, was that the man behind the screen had already walked this path before. And the FBI was watching every step. And when the truth finally surfaced, it led to an arrest that shook an entire community. Before we dive into this chilling real-life story, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your support encourages us to keep bringing you powerful, educational, and eye-opening true crime stories like this. Now, sit back and let's begin the story in full. Wheeling, West Virginia. A place where people still hold doors open for strangers, where neighbors know neighbors, and where trust feels like a natural part of daily life. That's the world our victim lived in. A woman who wasn't naive, who wasn't careless, but who simply believed in kindness. Someone who had been alone for a while, quietly hoping that maybe one day, love would find her again. Like so many people do, she turned to the internet. Harmless, ordinary. A message. A simple, unexpected message. From a man named Eugene Robert LeClaire. He was friendly, charming without trying too hard. He listened. He asked questions. He made her laugh, really laugh, in a way she hadn't in years. And slowly, she opened up. Because sometimes, loneliness isn't about having no one around. It's about having no one who truly cares. Or at least, that's what she thought. Their conversations grew deeper. Daily check-ins became nightly confessions. He spoke of shared dreams, of a life they could build, of the comfort of finally being understood. She trusted him. Why wouldn't she? He showed her attention, affection, and connection. He created the emotional world she had been craving. But beneath every typed message, a storm was forming. It started small. They always do. A medical issue, something sudden, something serious. He said he didn't want to ask, but he had no one else. He insisted he would pay her back. She hesitated. But the emotion, the closeness, the connection, it pushed her toward compassion. She sent the money. And just like that, the invisible line was crossed. The moment where empathy becomes vulnerability. The moment scammers wait for. And soon, more requests followed. A legal problem this time. He needed money to post bond. He swore he was innocent, misunderstood, in trouble because of someone else's mistake. She worried for him. She believed him. She wanted to help the man she thought she loved. She transferred more money, and each time she sent something, he thanked her like she'd saved his life. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, what do you think so far? Do you believe emotional scams are harder to detect than financial scams? We'd love to hear your thoughts below. As the months went by, the requests grew larger, and with each request, the story changed. He began claiming he had access to millions of dollars, huge gambling winnings, money from his past mistakes, funds that were supposedly tied up but would be released soon. He just needed her to help him bridge the gap. He said when everything cleared, he would take care of her forever. He would repay her every cent. They would start a life together, and she believed him because hope is powerful. Hope can blind you to the red flags waving right in front of you. So she kept helping him, kept giving, kept trusting, kept hoping. Until nearly $96,000 of her savings were gone. One day she realized something felt off. The stories weren't adding up, the excuses were too repetitive, and the promises felt more like delays than reassurance. Then came the moment that changed everything. She decided to check, just once, if his claims were true. And when she did, everything fell apart. No gambling winnings. No legal case that matched his story, no evidence he was ever sick, and no proof that he ever intended to repay her. She had been deceived, not by a stranger, but by someone who spent months building a mirror version of himself, the version that would give him access to her heart, and finally, her money. Her world shattered. The emotional betrayal hurt even more than the financial loss. But what she didn't know was that her report would become the beginning of something much bigger. Her case landed on the desk of investigators from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And as they began piecing the story together, a familiar pattern emerged. A familiar name, a familiar method, a familiar trail of deception. Because Eugene Robert LeClaire wasn't a first-time offender. The FBI knew him. He had been involved in previous fraud-related cases. He had a record. He had experience manipulating people for money, but this time, he left more digital fingerprints than he realized. Emails, phone records, bank wires, message logs, false identities, and continuous communication that tied every part of the scheme together. Bit by bit, the FBI built a case strong enough to reach a federal grand jury. Investigators discovered something else. He wasn't using a sophisticated scam network. He wasn't hiding behind a group or a system. He was doing this alone, using charm, deception, and emotional pressure. This made the case unusual. Most romance scams involve large syndicates overseas. But LeClaire? He was operating from right inside West Virginia. That twist shook the investigative team. Because it meant this wasn't an anonymous foreign actor. This was a local man, defrauding women he could potentially run into at the grocery store. The danger felt closer. The impact felt heavier, and the community felt betrayed. On August 30th, 2024, everything came to a head. After months of investigation, analysis, and evidence gathering, a federal grand jury handed down an indictment, 5 counts of wire fraud. Each count carries up to 20 years in federal prison. The FBI moved fast. Early one morning, as neighbors were starting their day, agents surrounded a property in Ohio County, and Eugene Robert LeClaire, the man who once promised love, care, tenderness, and a future, was put in handcuffs. The quiet street shook as the arrest unfolded. Agents escorted him out, while a growing circle of stunned neighbors watched. The same community he walked through daily now saw him as something entirely different. He was taken into custody and held at Northern Regional Jail, awaiting his first federal court appearance. For the victim, it was emotional, a mix of relief and heartbreak. Because closure doesn't erase the pain, but it does start the healing. The case sent ripples across West Virginia. People who had met LeClaire expressed shock. Community members felt deceived, and the story resurfaced an important truth. Romance scams don't just take money. They steal trust. They steal confidence. They steal the belief that love can be safe. But they also taught something powerful, something the FBI repeated constantly. Anyone can be a victim, and anyone can come forward. The victim in this story found her strength. She reported it. She stood firm. And because of her courage, the investigation exposed a serial pattern of manipulation. Her voice led to justice. This case stands as a reminder, not just to Americans, not just to online daters, but to everyone living in the digital age. Love is powerful, but so are lies. And when those lies come from someone who knows how to play the game, someone who understands your fears, your hopes, and your loneliness, they can break even the strongest person. This story isn't just about money lost. It's about emotional warfare, deception that feels like affection, manipulation disguised as intimacy, and it is happening everywhere. Thank you for staying with us till the end of this emotional, eye-opening story. Your time, attention, and support mean everything to BYTE Crimes. If this story moved you, if it taught you something, if it opened your eyes to the dangers happening online every single day, then please like this video, comment your thoughts, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us protect more people, expose more scams, and bring more stories to light. This is BYTE Crimes, where truth meets technology, and where every story reminds us to stay alert, stay informed, and stay safe.